Hello, everyone. It is Kenyon here. It is Basketball Rewind, and I am joined again by Beyond the Locker Room. I will leave his handles down below. Check them out. Click on the social media stuff and do your thing. Follow him. So we were just talking off camera about a few interesting teams, and I want to talk about standings.
Yes.
I will definitely have you on again with Coach because Coach has been bothering me to talk about the entire NBA and not just the Raptors.
Yeah.
So that's okay. We will get there, but today we will get there without Coach. Sorry, Coach. So Western Conference Finals after the deadline. I want to start with the team that we were just talking about, which is the Clippers. And how much do you think that they are regretting not going for Fred because of Terrence Mann?
Yeah, and it's funny because it's not even Terrence Mann's fault because I think actually he's playing pretty well, but unfortunately, I
Yep.
just don't think there's enough minutes right now. I mean, I heard the guys last night at the end of the game talk about Norman Powell, who was like, a 6th of the year candidate now. He can't really get enough minutes these days, and it's probably affecting his shooting. Like, it's like I think it's mentioned you offline. Like, they're kind of the opposite of the Raptors. The Raptors have probably got about 6 guys you can play consistently and feel good about. The
Yep.
Clippers got about, I think I counted off this afternoon about a dozen guys that are rotational players on any team in this league. Like they're just too deep. And there's not enough minutes for everybody. I'm curious to see when the playoffs come how Lou's going to manage this because you play about 8 at most in a playoff series. If you're really lucky, maybe 9. I'm sitting there going like, who are the other 4 guys are going to be sitting on the bench that they'll be sitting there going like, I didn't sign up for this. Like it's going to get really interesting for Ty Lue, and I think they kind of box themselves in the corner because now even adding Westbrook, it puts more pressure on minutes because Westbrook definitely those minutes better start with 3 if Westbrook's playing. That's for sure. Those minutes
I don't know
better
if you
start with,
saw they were guarding him the other day. I think it was Golden State,
yeah.
and
No,
they
yeah.
literally like no one was around him,
No,
and
no.
like
They played
and
with centers. They played with centers. I think it was like what's his name? Like Louis just sat there, just sitting just above the key, so he didn't get a 3-second violation or a defensive illegal defense on him, and just sit there and shoot. They have some serious issues on that team when it comes to getting minutes. Like I had forgotten at one point. Oh yeah, they got Bones Highland. I forgot about him for a second. It's questionable. Eric Gordon has not looked good since he's come over there. Sometimes you get a player that's been in such losing mentality that's hard to shake the losing off when you get to a more winning mentality. All the
yeah, the
losing,
the Eric Gordon acquisition confused me.
yeah,
That was one that confused me, and then also, I mean, I'm not even going to get into the whole Westbrook thing.
that's
It's
true
just
for superstars wanting him, right? Like that was the Raptors deal, right? You forgot? Yeah,
yeah,
that's the Raptors deal. Oh, just
yeah.
ship stock them here, and and like Messiah's like, you must be crazy, right? Like, I'm doing what? Paul George and
It's
Westbrook? No, 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 no. you
it's
know,
I mean, we've seen this movie before.
yes, yes.
And it didn't work out.
No,
Um,
and who knows? I mean, I'll say it here first. I mean, sadly, I think it might cost Ty Lue his job.
I don't know where the Clippers go from here because they don't really have a ton of assets.
You know,
They don't really, and if you hear Bones Highland was chirping at his teammate before he got traded, which led to him getting traded about it because he wanted more minutes. Well, welcome.
exactly. Yeah, I just don't know. Like, and the thing with them is that if Big Z gets any sort of foul trouble,
Yep.
they're in a whole heap of trouble. And it showed last night when he didn't play. Like they're as deep as they are, they're still thin at center.
They should have kept Hartenstein.
Yeah, it's showing up more and more. And as they get in the playoff series where you play bigger front lines, that's going to be a very interesting to see how Ty Lue finds a way to patchwork that on the big, when Big Z's on the bench. Like those are going to be interesting minutes to figure out. I mean, like
Yeah,
sometimes they're playing more sometimes out there as a small ball 5. Like they're doing all sorts of stuff. That ain't gonna cut it in the playoffs.
it's going to be a challenge, and the Western Conference is very weird to figure out because there's not a lot of defense going on there. There's a lot of high end talent on a lot of different teams.
Mhm.
Another team that probably regrets not making a move right now, but we will see is the Pelicans.
Well,
So, how do you how do you assess the Pelicans moving forward? Like, is anyone? I don't. I think their coach is fine, but and they've had a lot of injuries, but David Griffin might be back on the hot seat, in my opinion. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
See, in some ways, very similar to the Clippers. It comes back to, and and you've heard people say this as well as some of our folks that we talk to in this case here about availability, and it's a truism that we have to consider that you have to be available, and it's hard to build around star players that are not available, and you
Just
could
ask
try,
LA.
right. That's what I'm saying. Right.
All
Exactly.
both LA
Both
teams.
LA teams. Right. I'm gonna say which one. When you have that, it makes your judgment and your decision making so much different. Now it's interesting how both teams went about. The Clippers, they try to see that we're going to try to fortify the house, so we're going to get as many players as we can in case something goes bad. They're almost expecting something to go wrong with one of the two of them. We kind of think likely who the one is they're thinking of, but that's
Right.
how they're kind of building their team. We're breaking glass in case of emergency. We got as many people ready on board, ready to go if that happens. Then the Pelicans went a different route. They're saying, no, man, we got all chips on Zion, and we're gonna just wait it out and just hope that he gets back in time for the playoff run. And true, if Zion is able to play like the last 2 weeks of the season and it's enough wins to get them into a spot where they're a 6 seed, or even they get enough to get in the play in, they win to be a 7 or 8 seed.
Yeah.
I would want no part of them. I will tell you that right now. And if you told me Denver, New Orleans in the first round, I might be looking to put a few chips in this case on the Pelicans if Zion's there. I'll be quite honest with you, because I don't think that's a great matchup for Denver. On a few different fronts.
Yeah.
So
It's
like yeah,
it's interesting. I mean, in terms of the Western Conference, I won't talk about the bottom of the West or the bottom of the East, frankly. So anything that's 11 and below,
mm-hmm.
not today. No, no,
I
not
hear
today.
you. It's tough because not so much in the East, there's been a little space amongst them, but in the West, I mean,
Yes.
from about 3 to about 12, literally, like there's not much difference. There's about 4 games between them, so like a
Well,
week
I'm
from
looking
now,
at the Thunder right now, and they're there's one game separating them, and just one more game separating them and the Lakers,
right?
and Portland, right? So
Yeah,
it's not, they lost five straight, so they just
right,
crashed, came down.
right,
But
exactly. A
you know,
week ago, Dallas was in the play-in. Right, like as a Mavericks fan, watch that. Like I didn't even realize the other day we're in the 6 seed again. We're back in the mix.
they're literally one loss ahead,
Right,
one loss less than the Clippers, who have
right,
just lost four straight. So
for sure.
I'm super curious where things are going to end up. The Sacramento Kings, I think they end up in the top four, but they there's not that much separating even them. I still think that they end up as a top four seed because they've been fairly consistent this year. Phoenix, I think, ends up as one of those top four seeds, although Golden State is lurking. And
Yes,
Golden State might get that home court advantage. So that's the only team that I would look for to pass one of those two teams.
I'm gonna
And it'd
say
probably
another
be
thing.
the
Yeah,
Sonic.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
say something that might also be a little kind of like to the left of what people's thinking is. I personally think, and I might come back, they have egg on my face, but I think Phoenix is a bit of a paper tiger. I don't
Yep.
have as much faith in Phoenix as people have. I think their front court is weak. I think you get a physical front court, they're done. I think that they've done a patchwork job with Terrence Ross and others to build back a bench, but I still don't feel good about that. They have players in this case now that are susceptible to injury all the time now.
Yep.
And I can't expect. We've seen this for years, even when he was younger. Chris Paul can't make it through a playoff run. That is now fact. That's like 2 + 2 = 4. That's fact. So they
Yep.
can they can wrap him bubble wrap. They can put him, they can put him away, in a hyperbolic chamber. They can do whatever they want to him. It's
Vegan
guaranteed.
diet.
Right, yeah. They put him to sleep and wherever they want till the playoffs come. It doesn't matter. He is going to have an injury during the playoff run. So you throw that in the mix, and now you have less depth than before, high end depth. And you're asking Durant to carry you. I'm not sold that Durant can carry a team in the finals anymore. I'm not sold about that. As
I
great as he
mean, other people will argue with you. I agree. I'm as much as I think that Durant is one of the top players, I think in terms of I have a very high bar for what a superstar is,
mm,
and he got swept last year, and he got swept with the quote unquote more higher end talented upper level team. So we've seen this play out, and um, CP3 will be crucial to that
right.
team's success. So I agree with you. I don't think it's necessarily a done deal. My pick to go through the West, this is way too early, but I've been saying it for a while now, has been Denver.
Mm.
Assuming health, of course.
Well, I don't know. I don't know. Coach might be ringing his ears on this one when I come to talk to his boy here, man. Like it show improved time for him. You know, enough of the Revlon stats. They look great in the regular season. But I mean, like, it's like, oh, you can tell me about his per, you can tell me about his advanced stats. So I don't really care about those anymore.
Yep.
When it's all said and done, they're going to name this man for a 3-time MVP, and he's been to one Western Conference Finals. All right, been suspended in certain playoff series. In this case here, for losing his cool. Like it's like it has
True.
not been pretty. So been exposed defensively in series. And you can tell me now that I'm supposed to put faith in Denver. I'm just sitting there.
I'm just saying, which is fair. He hasn't had a running mate for 2 years because of injury.
Okay. So we're okay. We'll go with that. Okay.
That's what I'm going with. But yeah, I don't think he's gonna win it. But I think that he does have a. I definitely think he can make the Western Conference Finals. And I think from there it depends on what the matchup is. But yeah, so they're my pick. They're my pick. I don't know who your pick is.
Well, I know it's not Denver, that's for sure, because I can think of about 5 teams that if they're in a playoff series with Denver, I might pick them over Denver.
Really?
Yeah. If you told me Phoenix, Denver, I think I'm taking Phoenix. You told me Golden State, Denver, I think I'm taking Golden State. If you told me even Clippers, Denver, I think I'm still taking the Clippers. If you told me this case here, I said always says Zion's healthy, I'm taking Pelicans over Denver.
Yeah. Okay. I would take the Pelicans
Yeah.
actually.
Heck, if we need to stitch together and find some way by a miracle to get into the playoffs, and it's 1-8, and it's Tinseltown versus Denver. You telling me you're gonna pick against LeBron James against them? Please let me have that bet with you.
Well, I mean, listen, LeBron
Please
James has to get healthy first.
put that money down if you want to take LeBron. Without playing with Jokic, please have
Yeah.
please. I'm just begging for this. I can't wait. I've never been more anticipated for a star player in a playoff run like I am for Jokic in this one. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Now we get all the chips are on the table now. Right?
I think the other interesting team is probably Dallas. I don't think that they're going to go super far, but they're going to be fun to watch.
No, as a Mavericks fan, notice I didn't mention them, right?
Yeah. They're definitely going to be super fun to watch. So yeah, really quickly to go to the East because I know I only have you for a little bit more time. So we'll just kind of talk about 3 teams that interest us beyond the Raptors. So I'll let you take it away. Is there a team that you want to speak on?
Well, it's funny when the year started, the East seemed to be a bit of a kind of like a catch-all. But as the season's gone on, some of the trades have happened, a few injuries. It's kind of sorted itself out. I think the team everyone's watching to see what they're going to do is Philadelphia.
Yeah.
I mean, and they're a little bit like Denver in the same boat. Like, hey, man, there's no more. All chips are in. Ain't no more excuses. No more crying about you should be MVP. It's proof time. Everyone's healthy. You got your running mate there. Maxi's in full bloom now. You got some guys in this case here for the trade that are good pickups. Philadelphia should not have any excuses at this point. And yet somehow, even my Mavericks pick them off last night. You got the game on Saturday with Boston, and once again, finally they're getting the choke away they're getting against the Celtics. And I'm just sitting here shaking my head, boys. Like, here we go, man. It's happening all over again. But Philadelphia is the mark team you gotta watch. I think on the opposite end, they are hard out, but I am serious to see if they're gonna hold the rope. And it's hard to say that about a Miami team, but Miami seems like they're on the precipice. They're hanging on a little bit. Like I don't
Yeah,
know.
I don't believe in them, and I haven't for the whole season. I thought we were going to be better than Miami, and I still think, from a talent perspective, I think we are way better built as a team. But we've had a rough season. But Miami is hanging on for dear life. They are about to go into palliative care.
Yep. You're get ugly this summer. And Pat Riley,
um,
he doesn't mess around. So big change
yeah,
is coming, man. I don't know
I
who
picked up Kevin Love on my fantasy squad. That was not a good pickup.
you picked up. No,
Uh,
what you picked up was the corpse of Kevin Love. That's
yeah,
what you. It's
shout
all right.
out to Kevin Love.
Yeah.
I do appreciate you. His uncle's actually a Beastie Boy, if I'm not mistaken. Um,
Well,
so
was it? Oh no, his uncle is a beach. He's a beach boy.
Beach Boy.
Yeah,
Okay, okay.
yeah. He's a beach
Yeah,
boy.
yeah.
Like, well, it's also Kevin Love right now is just working his way to his modeling gig in this case when he retires, man. That's what like it's he looked very distinguished with the gray hair. Like that's what he's working towards right now, man. It's like it's a wrap for Kevin. But
Yeah.
overall, I think the other team is like to me the team that beats Milwaukee. I know Boston's got the better record, but
Yep.
I just somehow Boston's still
Well,
nagging.
Milwaukee actually has a better record as of us speaking. So
Oh
whenever
yeah,
this
okay.
comes out, we'll see. But
I know they were getting close, so I wasn't sure if they had passed them just yet. But like Milwaukee,
16 wins.
16 wins would do that. Yeah. Yeah, it would do that. And it's like, Giannis, no Giannis doesn't matter. It's like, hey, no problem. Milton, no problem. I mean, that's the reason why when people say they're shot when Drew Holiday got picked for the All-Star game. You guys been watching basketball? Like, seriously?
Yeah.
That was an obvious pick. Like, but I think something about Boston still, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if the coach in this case here, I don't know. Sometimes Tatum has some games where it's just like he throws in a clunker every once in a while where it's like, I get a little concerned, man. But we'll see.
I mean, Tatum's have been good overall in the year, but yeah, like you said, that there's times even when I I want to say it was against Philly recently that he had that clutch game, but then I'm looking at the stats of the game, and I know stats aren't everything,
No.
and I know it's how you finished the game, but still, I'm like, you didn't have like an efficient game or anything like that. Like it wasn't like he was like whooping them, right? Like, so let's pump the brakes on this, right?
Like I don't think Tatum strikes fear into anybody if you're having a 7-game series with him. I don't think he's at that level yet. As great as he is, I don't think.
I think he'll get there, but right now, today, I mean, I'm not saying this, but today there are even some Boston fans that would say that Brown is better. I don't think so personally, but there are definitely some Boston fans that are saying.
I've been kind of dipped my toe into that pool once in a while myself. So I don't think it's that crazy. Let's put it that way. I'm sometimes wondering myself a little bit. And in the finals, it started looking a little bit more on my side, because Brown was he was a go getter for the whole series,
except when he had to dribble.
True, the turnovers were rough, but he showed up in every game. There's no doubt. And if they had won that series, he would have been the MVP.
Yeah,
I don't know. Like something about Tatum, I just don't know just quite yet. And we say he'll get there. But honestly, we've been saying this about Joel Embiid for about 5 years now. He didn't get there yet.
Jokic? The biggest disappointment, which is funny, the biggest disappointment has been Brooklyn so far. I thought that they would be better coming out of the break. I really did. I still like a lot of what they got. I think that they're primed to. I feel like they're going to just make a move in the summer, but they should kind of figure out what to do before making any sort of big step forward, in my opinion. But losing 4 straight, and they haven't been looking so hot coming out of the break. You almost wish that the Raptors faced them now instead of earlier in the season.
All the tiebreakers are going to be going the wrong way in this case here, but like,
yeah,
I think with Brooklyn, it's like they're kind of like a Portland Clippers in a way. They got too many guys.
yeah.
It's like there's no directions. Like I mean, they're like about 12 deep. there's guys I forgot they're on the team. It's like, oh yeah, I actually had forgotten about Ben Simmons on the team. Actually, at one point when I went to the trades, oh yeah, that guy's on the team too. I went through about 10 dudes. I even count Ben Simmons on the team.
I mean, yeah, what was it? I think Jack Vaughn the other day he said zero and zero moving forward about Ben Simmons, and it's like, okay, so this guy isn't even going to factor into the play in or
No,
whatever.
his career might be done. Like I think like I don't know how you work him out as a buyout candidate. I don't know how you want if you want to eat that. Like I don't know what you do because no one's trading for him. So
You can't because he has what 3 more years above 30 million.
yeah,
I will.
1 more year left. Someone might trade for him in this case just for cap space or something, but no one's going to trade for him.
Listen, Ben Simmons, and I had an argument with someone the other day about this, but and I'm going to make my stance on Ben Simmons very clear right now. Ben Simmons has had a real back injury. There's no doubt about that. And within that, you also have psychosomatic symptoms that are probably associated with his anxiety. You have the anxiety factor. There's just a lot going on with him.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's probably one of the most talented people as a prospect when he was there. And for different reasons, he currently hasn't been able to. Some people still believe in it, but what I will say is this. 2 years ago, people said, I think it was 2 years. Was it last year that he was traded to?
Yeah.
Yes. So, sorry, last year. There were people that wanted to trade Siakam or Ben Simmons, okay? Someone that we've talked about before. We're not going to mention right now, but yeah.
Yeah.
And I just want to say, I feel vindicated.
Yeah.
Okay? We talk about availability. We talk about pushing through adversity and all that kind of stuff. And I'm not trying to kick a man while he's down or anything like that. And I think, Ben Simmons needs to be in a supportive environment, basketball-wise, and they almost need to like rebuild him up from scratch and start from there. But I feel vindicated. That's all.
The only thing I'll say about Ben Simmons, I just wonder a bit is, does he actually like basketball? And I don't
know. I don't know.
About many players, because it's a very sensitive subject, but just look at his history. I mean, pretty much at LSU, didn't bother coming back in this case to try to get a run to get in the March Madness. He's like, I'm good. I mean, played for his national team. I don't know if they even want him, which is always questionable. When your national team is like, we good? That's a red. That's like sirens everywhere.
That's the Australian team, right?
Yeah. Like when you say easily he would be the best player of the team, and they're like, no, we're okay. That's saying something. Like wow, and I really wonder if he actually does like basketball. I seriously wonder. And I've never been sold on Ben Simmons, to be quite honest with you. I've always kind of thought he's a bit of an overrated talent. That's just me. I just never saw
I've never been sold on him, but I've never felt that he's overrated. But I did feel like he didn't improve offensively since being in the league.
Oh, he's gotten worse. Like you watch the first year of Ben Simmons, he used to take a few little jump shots. In this case, you watched his rookie season. Like he didn't get run from taking free throw shots. He wasn't great at them, but he didn't play in a way where he wasn't being aggressive enough to actually get fouled. But he's regressed so bad in this case, and you mentioned some of the reasons that may be the case. But I never was impressed with him enough in this case to say, what? It's like, this guy's a altering type of talent. Like I just didn't see it because my mindset was like, it's like he doesn't, his offensive game was never great to begin with. He's a great passer, no two ways about that. But he was always like, if you're gonna get him on a fast break, what use was he? Right? And when you play playoffs, it's all half court. So
yeah, and I mean, to be fair, I think Doc. It's not like I'm giving excuses, but it's true. I don't think that Doc used him and Joel Embiid how they should be used because they were kind of operating in the same space at times, and in a way, it actually misused, Joel Embiid, in my opinion. I think the way that they should have used him is use Embiid pick and roll to get Simmons going downhill more. And then, pop, but not out to the 3-point line. But that's a whole other thing. I mean, at the end of the day, I do hope that he figures out a way to get back to where he was. And we will see. So it's been a great discussion with you. And I hope everyone enjoyed the two discussions whenever they come out. I am busy these days. I am getting over being sick, so I will get them out as soon as possible. And stay tuned because I will definitely be getting out draft content very soon. Um, Unfortunately, the Raptors don't look like they're going to pick Scoot, but that's probably going to be my first thing. But that's okay. So with that, like, comment, and subscribe, and leave any sort of comment or feedback down below. And take care.